The fat controller sat in his office listening to the noise outside. The passengers were angry. The station master came in. There's trouble in the shed, sir. Henry is sulking, there's no train, and the passengers are saying this is a bad railway. Indeed, said the fat controller, we cannot allow that. He found Gordon, James, and Henry looking very cross. Come along, Henry, it's time your train was ready.
ヘンリーは行かない、
said Gordon.
私たちは、典型的なタンク機関車のように客車や貨車を押し回すことを拒否する。それがトーマスの仕事だった。私たちは3台の重要なテンダー機関車です。あなたが客車を持ってきて、私たちがそれを引っ張る。テンダー機関車は鉄道車両を押し回したりしない。
Oh, indeed, said the fat controller. We'll see about that. Engines on my railway do as they are told. And he hurried away to find Edward. The yard has never been the same since Thomas left to run his branch line, he thought sadly. Edward was shunting. Leave those trucks, please, Edward, said the fat controller. I want you to push coaches for me in the yard.
ありがとうございます。楽しみにしています。
That's a good engine. Off you go then. So Edward found coaches for the 3 engines, and that day the trains ran as usual. But next morning, Edward looked unhappy. Gordon came clanking past, hissing rudely. Bless me, said the fat controller. What a noise.
他の機関車はみんな私に蒸気を吹かしている。テンダー機関車は入館しないって言うし、ゆうべは私の車輪は黒だって言われた。私の車輪は黒くないでしょ。
No, Edward, you have nice blue ones and I'm proud of you. Tender engines do shunt. But all the same, we do need another tank engine here. He went to a workshop and they showed him all sorts of engines. At last he saw a smart little green engine with 4 wheels. That's the one, he thought. If I choose you, will you work hard?
そうだね。そうするよ。
That's a good engine. I'll call you Percy.
はい、ありがとうございます。
And the fat controller brought him back to the yard. Edward, he called, here's Percy. Will you show him everything? Percy soon learned what he had to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. When Percy, Henry jumped and ran back to the shed.
あなたはどれほど美しく、彼に蒸気を吹きかけたことだろう。
Laughed Edward.
ああ、何でもない。工房に戻ると、大きな声で蒸気を吹かなければ他の人に聞こえない。
Next morning, Thomas arrived.
トップハムハット卿が私を呼んだ。私の助けが必要なのだろう。
し、彼が来る。
Replied Edward. Well done, Thomas. You've been quick. Listen, Henry, Gordon, and James are sulking. They say they won't shunt like common tank engines. So I have shut them up and I want you both to run the line for a while.
普通のタンク機関車？バカバカしい。
Snorted Thomas. And Percy will help too.
ああ、先生。はい、すぐに、先生。
Edward and Thomas worked the main line, greeting each other as they passed by. Percy puffed along the branch line. Thomas was anxious about handling Clarabelle, but both driver and guard promised to take care of him. There were fewer trains, but the passengers didn't mind. They knew the 3 other engines were having a lesson. Gordon, James, and Henry were cold, lonely, and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly.